Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's weekly options watch list. Hopefully, you all had a great weekend and are looking forward to getting back to trading here come Monday. So, before I get into the 5 plays that I'm watching for the upcoming week, I want to give a quick overall market breakdown and where the market has been going and where the market potentially could keep going. So, we'll start off here with the ES futures on the daily time frame. And if we zoom in here a little bit, we can see we were in a nice downtrend, making lower lows and lower highs, but then finally we did find some support around this 4150 area, and you can also, if you zoom out here a little bit, you can go back to where we found support previously on some different candles, and if we draw on that line, it did find some support based off of this previous support that it has held in that uptrend. So potentially could be the overall bottom here on the market was down here, as we did test it around, what was that, almost 4 times there, and it did hold, and now it has been moving back to the upside, changing its structure due to us making new higher highs past this level, and we haven't really, I think, put in a low. I think that that low that we put in would be a retest of the 21 EMA, and we'll see where that aligns with this level here as well. But if we do look down here at the daily squeeze, we can see that this is what is propelling the stock to the upside. So I think what is happening is we have this huge sell-off, and everyone gets fearful and they start to go short. And once everyone goes short in the market, there's no more sellers. So the stock market has to go up due to there being no more buyers. So then all those shorts get stopped out, and everyone else, the institutions, are making their big money then. So this is kind of the situation that I think is happening here. It's mainly just a short squeeze to get all those shorts out of their position, but the overall structure here now has changed due to it making that higher high with that daily squeeze firing to the upside. And then also, if we look at this weekly time frame, we can see that we have cleared above the 21 EMA, and we have held that level. We do have a low compression squeeze setting up here, as we are gaining some more bullish momentum compared to when we were in this bearish momentum in this downtrend. We are starting to come out of that here, so look for maybe a retest of this 21 EMA and a hold for a bounce, and that could be a nice indication that we are going to start making a new uptrend or bull run. But if we do fall right back below that level, we could see some more selling here in the market going forward. So that's the ES. We'll move on to the Qs here. Qs are a little bit different, but kind of have a similar story to the ES. Had this daily squeeze fire, which gave them that pop. Did make a higher high based off of these previous levels. So that structure has changed from that downtrend. But if we do look at the weekly time frame here, it has not yet captured that 21 EMA and is actually sitting directly at it. So this week I think will be huge for the Qs to see if they can get a close above that level, and even especially above this 50 simple moving average, which it rejected here on the weekly time frame. So if this level can be recaptured and hold, that would be great for the bulls. If it gets rejected, that would be great for the bears overall. So that's kind of where the Qs are at right now in the level I'm watching with them. Then if we come on to the Dow here, similar story. The downtrend trying to break back out with this squeeze. And if we come to the weekly, this weekly has been in a weekly squeeze for a long time. It officially got out of this mid compression where it fired to the downside, but only went into a low compression. And if we look at the structure here, we can see that it did reclaim the 21. It kept reclaiming this 21 here, but it cannot go past this 50 simple moving average. So it either this week has to break past that level, or I think we could reject that and then maybe close below the 21, which would then leave us more susceptible to, I believe, more selling within the Dow itself. All right, and last but not least, here we have the good old small caps. Small caps have been consolidating after this large flush here for a while now. They looked like they were wanting to break out here a little bit off of these previous levels, but kind of got stuffed once again and are kind of consolidating right at that level. I thought that this daily squeeze had maybe propelled them past, but it still technically hasn't taken out this high wick here. So I think you need to see that level get broke before the small caps can continue to that upside. So now if we look at the weekly, weekly is kind of similar actually to the NASDAQ, as it has not reclaimed that 21 EMA yet and is sitting right below it. So just like the NASDAQ, I think it will be in a very important week here for the small caps to see if they can get a close above, or if they once again reject and go retest these previous lows on the weekly time frame. So that's kind of all I am watching this week within the indices themselves, and kind of what levels I am for sure keeping my eyes on and where we could potentially go. So the actual 5 plays I'm looking at for the upcoming week, I have a few shorts and a few longs just based off where we could potentially go this week. So the first one I am looking at is Cisco to the downside. So if we come in here, we can see had this large flush to the downside into a consolidation period, and we have negatively stacked EMAs. Our price action is holding below this 21 EMA, and basically we're holding perfectly between this +1 and -1 ATR, and I think that this squeeze could propel it back down below this -1 ATR to retest this -2 or even -3 as it has done previously. So this one, in my opinion, does look really good. Has been sitting in this consolidation for a while now, and I think that it is ready to make its next move to that downside. So look for an entry around that 21 EMA or even this 8 EMA as it rejected it here on Friday. So that could be a great place to get in as well. And then look for a price target anywhere around 52.70 to about 51.40. I think those would be good price targets going forward with Cisco. Next one to the upside here is LMT. I actually played LMT a little bit ago on this daily squeeze, as its structure was beautiful. You could see that it was holding that 21 EMA perfectly. You still had stacked EMAs when this was happening as well, and you can see that it made a nice large move here on the stock, and the team took in some nice profits off that trade. But now, if we come to right now, we can see that it had this big explosion, reverted back down to the mean, held that mean, and it now is looking, I think, to make its next move potentially to that upside. This daily squeeze is just starting to form, so ideally we let the squeeze form a little bit before breaking completely out, and we get a nice retest of either this 8 EMA or ideally this 21 EMA for an entry before it hopefully continues to make its move to the upside. If we do get this pull back down to the 21, look for a price target at around this previous high, which would be 467 to about, we'll go to the top of the wick probably for another one, about 480. Anywhere between those levels will be good price targets in my opinion. Next one going forward here is lift to the downside. So we have negatively stacked EMAs, which already shows me it's in a bearish trend. We have been consolidating here around the 21 and the -1 ATR here on the daily time frame. We're setting up this squeeze, and with price action holding below that 21, we do have the bullishness on the squeeze histogram, but because we have these closes below that 21, I do think we will start to roll over and retest some of these previous lows here, which line up perfectly with this -2 ATR around 33, we'll just say 33.90. So I think that would be a good price target for lift to fall, or 33.90. Yeah, good price target for this one to fall to from the level it's at right now. Ideally, once again, get that entry at the 21 EMA. Novavax here is the next one to the downside as well. Structure has been quite bearish. You can see every time it comes and touches 21, rejects, rejects, rejects. Every time just keeps rejecting to the downside. This is just showing me that it is still, the bears are in control here, and that I'll just keep continuing this to play this to the downside due to its structure. So if we look at the structure, we have negatively stacked EMAs, so its trend is bearish. Can't hold the 21, and this bullish momentum on the squeeze histogram wasn't sustainable, and it's already starting to roll over. As you can see, this big red candle here on Friday. So ideally look for that reversion back to the mean quick, or a quick jump, maybe, and take your entry there for another fall to the downside. And last but not least here, we have T-Mobile once again on the watch list to the upside. We have positively stacked DMAs, good bullish momentum. The squeeze histogram has been holding this 21 EMA very nicely, and I think it could move to the upside. So this is my overall watch list. Hopefully it gives you all a few other things to look at yourself, and a few other plays you could potentially add to your watch list. So today, start making some money.